What is up? Coming at you live from Fort Worth. This is the Quick Slice. Today, we're going to be talking about big tech and privacy. Let's get toasty. Toasty. In 1994, the 7 biggest tobacco companies were actually in front of Congress. Pretty similar to how we are today in big tech. But they weren't asked the question of privacy. They were asked if their nicotine in the products they sell was addictive. And you could probably guess what their answer was. Every one of them answered no. It's not addictive, and their products are okay for use. That was a blatant lie, and we now know that, some 26 years later. I think we're dealing with a similar situation here with big tech. Big tech right now is being asked the same type of question, except, different question, same type of way, right? One of the main questions that I took away from the congressional hearing in July was, is China stealing our data and technology? Out of the 4 big tech companies, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Apple, only one of them answered correctly, in my opinion. That was Mark Zuckerberg. He said, yes, it's well documented that China is stealing our technology and data. Simple as that. He didn't add anything to it. He didn't say anything about it. He didn't try to explain himself like all of the big tech companies are doing right now. There's always this explanation behind the questions. There's never a yes or no until that question. Apple said they have no first-hand knowledge of it. Google said the exact same thing, no first-hand knowledge, which, in all honesty, is probably true. They're CEOs. They are far removed from some of the dirty work that might go on in their company. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. That's how companies function. And I think we're dealing with that in all of them. Right after Mark Zuckerberg answered, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos actually answered. And I think Mark may have swayed his answer a little bit. But you will never know. No one will never know that truth. We're not inside Bezos' head. But he said, I've seen reports of China stealing technology, but I also have no first-hand knowledge of it. So he basically took the answers from all 3 of the other companies, melded them into one answer, and then spit it out to Congress. I feel like we're constantly playing this cat and mouse game with big tech, but I think that's about to change. After this hearing, we have seen what's happened to big tech, and I think that we will end up in a different area of big tech's life. You know what I mean? So right now, everyone I think is becoming to realize that privacy is important, and we're realizing that with TikTok now. Recently, a couple months ago, I guess. A month ago, I'm not really sure on the timeline. Trump announced, he wanted TikTok basically banned, or Microsoft will buy them. It's kind of hilarious to me that he chose Microsoft, maybe because they're the only ones that are big enough to do it, but don't they also have privacy issues? I guess no one will ever know for sure, but that is interesting because they also were not in that hearing as far as I saw. I didn't watch the whole video. I didn't watch the whole hearing, but in the parts that I saw, it was only the 4 that I mentioned earlier. I would not get too hasty here, or I wouldn't hold your breath for something to happen to big tech soon. It'll take some time. It always takes time. Government always takes time. I would say whenever the dust settles, we might see, some, investigations come out, we might see reports, deep dives, if you will, and I think that it might bring out some truths to big tech. But my question is, has America already redefined what privacy is by even accepting the terms and conditions in the first place? Because I was only 16, actually maybe 15, when I first signed up for Facebook, and I already had a Gmail account. Do you think I thought about the repercussions and do you think I read the terms and conditions whenever I accepted it? No, definitely not. Am I going to blame them and tell them they took advantage of me? No, I'm also probably not going to do that because I'm a grown-ass man. But there are still questions I have about it, and there are still things I expect could happen from situations like that, from similar situations like mine. What do you think TikTok is doing now? Because we have them basically taking data and facial recognition and everything they can for teenagers. Every teenager I know is on that, and I think that that's a problem. Later on, you'll see me. I'll interview a girl that I know that used to work for TikTok or did some contracts for TikTok, and you might hear some things that you didn't know about. I'm excited about it. I don't know much about it either. She's gathering some information right now. But I can't wait to show you guys that. That'll be on my actual show, the Toasty Podcast. These are quick slices. The quick slices where I get to give you some information very quickly, and it doesn't have to be planned out. I just want to talk. So here I am. I've been reading up on some of this stuff, and I'm seeing the similarities of the congressional hearing for the tobacco versus big tech. The same thing happened. And we tried to break up tobacco because of the health problems from it. And now we are in the same area. We're trying to figure out how to break up big tech because of privacy. And I think it's obvious. Like you can't even. I don't even understand how they're able to fight it. Good lawyers or whatever, I guess. I don't know. Because you have the big tech, and they're so large, and you've heard of so many instances of privacy being used in different malicious ways. Maybe all that stuff's not true. I don't know. I would like to think it's not, but I kind of don't believe that. You know what I mean? I think that it is true. I think that there are instances where our privacy is used or sold or pawned off so that we are used as bait almost. But where it comes down, where I come into it, where I land is that I'm already on YouTube. I already have a podcast. I already do everything on social media. I am well ingrained in the quote-unquote system now. So I don't think there's any coming back. I think I'm screwed in that regard. But I don't know where it would lead. Where is it going to lead for me? You know what I mean? I talked about this on my show earlier with a guy named Justin. He was on my show. He was actually talking about K-pop, of all things. But we started talking about privacy and what it means and what it means as far as, why Google would even use it. And Justin said the same thing. He's like, I'm already here. I'm already doing it. And like, if I were to stop right now and take everything down if I could and just remove everything, the footprint is there. Your internet footprint is extremely difficult to get rid of, if not impossible. And so if you're going to try and get rid of it, I don't know if there's a reason to. Because even if you stopped right now, you would still have all of that past. Everything would still be there. So whenever it comes down to it and you have military at your door to take your guns because all of a sudden we're a communist country, I don't know, I'm just giving you an example. Then if they were going to use that privacy somehow or use that data they have of you somehow for that, you're already there. It's happening. And if you had done your job of keeping everything private up until that point, they're still going to have that video of you stripping and going into the ocean, naked, right? Some random video of you doing whatever the heck you're doing that you're embarrassed of. They're going to have it. They're going to have it no matter what. Does it matter? That's definitely for you to decide. What I'm worried about is the fact that we're trying to change it now when I think it's too late. You can teach people how to be more healthy as we learn. Fast food's bad for you. Oh, it is? Holy crap. I'm going to do better. And then generations and generations go by, and they do better and better and better. I'm not sure if it's the same scenario here. So with tobacco, we learned that tobacco is bad for you, and it's taken, years, decades. At this point, has been decades to learn how to not, what's bad, not to smoke, or that we already know it's bad for you, kind of thing, right? But with big tech and privacy, we are not going to be able, I don't think, to come back from that. How are we going to come back from big tech? We're not going to be able to reverse it. I don't think we'll be able to reverse it. And so now, 20 years from now until 20 years from now, we're going to be dealing with this. Let's say they do their job and Congress actually, breaks up big tech. The main thing they're talking about doing right now is actually taking their companies and not letting them be the platform and sell a product. So, for example, in this article that I'm reading now on, I guess it's 10.medium.com, written by Will Oramus. Thanks, Will. I'm going to read your stuff here on my podcast. It looks like he's done some research here too. So breaking them up is an easy slogan, but that's not exactly what would happen, right? You don't just say, okay, well, now you're half a company, like a stock split, like Apple's stock split, earlier this past month. I mean, the real thing that could happen is you break up the company in a way that doesn't allow them to sell their own product on their own platform. So like, for instance, he gives an example here. Amazon might no longer be allowed to produce its own lines of clothing and household goods to rival those of the third-party sellers that are on its own site. So it's made the website. It allows people to come in and sell their products, and then it squishes all those products because it sells its own product. Basically, it's a genius idea, but basically, you're getting a scope of what everyone wants because you see the products that are selling on your own website. And then you're like, oh, I can make that. So it'd be like me creating a video, YouTube, creating a freaking video website and saying, you guys post your videos here and I see what has the most views, and then I create the same videos to get the views. Now I've stolen the competition. Okay, now whether that's good or bad, for me it's irrelevant because I'm okay with capitalism and I agree with capitalism. Okay? To a certain extent, though, does it get to be borderline monopolization? Is it monopolization? Does it become a borderline like monopoly if they do that? I don't know. I'm not sure. You know what? Let me look up that right now. Kind of hard to type with this stupid mic in my way, huh? So here we have monopoly, the exclusive possession or control of the supply of a trade in a commodity or service. Now, I wouldn't say Amazon has exclusive control to the product necessarily, but they have exclusive control of their platform. So in a way, this could be it. This could be what's happening here. To have exclusive control of the platform that actually sells the products means you can put them wherever you want. I mean, you think Google doesn't put their products in the top of the search results? Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? It's a business move. They're trying to sell more products, right? Just like the products you want to sell are going to go, front and center. When you walk in the door, first thing you see at Walmart, TVs on the right or TVs on the left or whatever. Maybe they need to sell more TVs. Ever thought about that? Or what they know people want. A freaking 20-pack of I don't know, Pop-Tarts, front and center. I don't know, maybe that's what people want. I don't know. But the point is simple. Yeah, they're going to do that. It's a freaking business move. Now, is it a monopoly? I don't know. To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, it could be. They could do that. They could end up saying, you have too much control over this platform. Now, how will they change that? I don't know. I don't know. And I also don't know if it's gonna matter. I don't think we would learn from it. And maybe 5 generations from now, privacy wouldn't be a big thing anymore because we'd finally be able to know how to control ourselves, really, from selecting the accept button. But until then, we're dealing with it now, and I think that it's been a long time coming, and it might have been too long time, too long time. Another example he gives is Google and how they wouldn't be able to do what I just said, put their stuff at the top of the results. Amazon wouldn't be able to sell their own products, and I'm not sure if there was one for Facebook. Let's check it out. I don't see one for Facebook. It might just be me. Apple also had there was an example there that Will gave. Apple would not be able to put Apple Music on their App Store, right? Because you're competing against the platform you create. It's all about competing on the platform you create. That's what it's all about. The hilarious thing is he brings that example up, but how many people do you know that actually use Apple Music? Maybe I'm just in my own little echo chamber, but I think that Spotify is much more popular than Apple Music, and if it's not, you need to get Spotify. For sure. Sorry, Apple, I love you, but Apple Music just isn't it. So anyway, carrying on, that's what this might lead to, and that's the way you might actually break up the big tech. Again, I don't think there's any coming back from this privacy thing, and I don't know if we're gonna have this tech breakup thing happen the way people actually expect it to. By the way, what he gets all this information from, he basically is comparing this to what they call the Glass-Steagall Act. The Glass-Steagall Act was for banks, right? So essentially, it made it to where you can't have a bank and an investment bank in the same branch, in the same company. So that's why now you have Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, or is it Merrill Lynch? Is that what Bank of America? And then you have Fidelity and Fidelity's always been investment banking, huh? Chase and their investment bank, whatever. They're the big banks basically separated, and they made alternative companies for their investment stuff. It's like a car manufacturer and a luxury car line. That didn't happen by force, but you see what I'm saying? It's the same company still, though. So what was it? Just a little caveat to the law? Now they're able to get around it, like taxes. That was one way they were able to kind of break up big banks, and that's why they did that. Now he's comparing it to big tech and how they could do the same type of thing. They would not be able to sell that same product on their platform. So essentially, Amazon would have to create their own other brand for clothing and stuff. But that seems like it might be pretty easy. I guess they wouldn't be allowed to sell it on their platform at that point, so they'd have to create a whole new thing. Amazon Clothing Services, LLC. I don't know. Whatever it is, that's what they would try to do, and that might be the way that we actually get to break up tech. So you've heard it here, probably for the 5th time. Definitely not the first. This has been a quick slice. Stay toasty.